Officer, I am not resisting. I am cooperating fully. But I believe you're making a mistake.
The only mistake here is whatever you're planning, people always think you're slick, don't you? Suit and tie like it makes you respectable. I assure you, I have every right to be here. A single call to dispatch would confirm that.
I'll think of something to charge you with. We always do. Interesting choice, officer. You never actually read me my Miranda rights.
Narrator. This is the story of Marcus Williams, a man who looked like just another defendant in a system that had already judged him. But what Officer Bradley Chen didn't know that cold Tuesday morning would change both their lives forever and teach an entire courtroom a lesson about assumptions, power, and the dangerous cost of prejudice. Scene: downtown municipal courthouse, 9:47 a.m. The marble halls echo with hurried footsteps. People in business attire rush past, clutching briefcases and coffee cups. Near the security checkpoint, a well-dressed black man in his late 30s stands calmly, hands visible, speaking quietly on his phone. Marcus Williams stands at 6 feet 1 inch, wearing a tailored navy suit, crisp white shirt, and burgundy tie. His posture is relaxed but dignified. He's ending a phone call. Marcus. Into phone, calm and professional. Yes, I understand the situation. I'll handle it personally when I arrive. The preliminary hearing should conclude by noon. Thank you, Sarah. He ends the call and places his phone in his jacket pocket. He carries a leather briefcase, worn but well-maintained. Officer Bradley Chen approaches from the left, mid-40s, patrol officer, 15 years on the force. His uniform is immaculate, his expression hardened by years of assumptions confirmed by confirmation bias. His partner, Officer Jenkins, a younger woman, follows behind looking less certain. Officer Chen, sharp tone, "You. Stop right there." Marcus turns, mild surprise crossing his face. Marcus, politely, "Good morning, officer. Is there a problem?" Officer Chen, eyes narrowing, hand resting near his belt. "I'm going to need to see some identification. Now." Marcus, reaching slowly for his wallet. "Of course. May I ask what this is about?" Officer Chen, stepping closer, voice hardening. "There's been a report of a suspicious person matching your description loitering around the courthouse. We take security very seriously here." Officer Jenkins, uncertain, quietly. "Chen, maybe we should." Officer Chen, cutting her off. "I've got this, Jenkins." Marcus produces his wallet, extracting his driver's license with deliberate, visible movements. "Marcus, I'm here for court proceedings, officer. I have business inside." Officer Chen, snatching the license, examining it with exaggerated scrutiny. Marcus Williams. South District address. Looks up, suspicious. That's not exactly the financial district, is it? What kind of business brings someone from your neighborhood to Superior Court dressed like he's going to a job interview he won't get? Narrator. It was a small comment, wrapped in the veneer of professional duty. But Marcus had heard variations of this his entire life. The subtle suggestion that he didn't belong, that his presence in certain spaces required explanation and justification. He'd learned long ago that anger only confirmed their prejudices. Dignity, however, was something they could never take away. Marcus, measured tone, no edge. "I assure you, officer, I have every right to be here. If you check your dispatch." Officer Chen, talking over him. "I'll decide what I need to check." Turn around. Hands on the wall. Officer Jenkins, stepping forward, uncomfortable. "Sir, is this really necessary?" He's cooperating. Officer Chen, sharp glance at Jenkins. "You want to write the report explaining why we didn't follow protocol and something happened?" "Didn't think so." Marcus's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly, but he complies, placing his hands against the marble wall. Other courthouse visitors begin to slow down, watching. Some pull out phones. A few whisper. Marcus, calm, but firm. "Officer Chen, I'm going to say this clearly. I am not resisting. I am cooperating fully. But I believe you're making a mistake." Officer Chen, patting down Marcus roughly, checking pockets. "The only mistake here is whatever you're planning. You people always think you're slick, don't you? Suit and tie like it makes you respectable." He pulls Marcus's phone from his pocket. The screen lights up with notifications. Officer Chen scrolls through without permission. "Marcus, that's my private property. You don't have probable cause to search my phone." Officer Chen, smirking. "I've got probable cause for anything I determine is a security threat." Reading from phone screen. "Multiple calls to the DA's office? Now why would someone like you be calling the district attorney?" Marcus, a hint of steel entering his voice. "I'm asking you, respectfully, to reconsider your current course of action." Officer Chen, mockingly. "Oh, you're asking me? That's rich." To Jenkins, "Cuff him. We're taking him in for questioning." Officer Jenkins, hesitating. "On what charge exactly?" Officer Chen, suspicious behavior, failure to provide satisfactory identification, possible court interference. "I'll think of something. We always do." Narrator. And there it was, the naked truth spoken aloud. In that moment, Officer Chen revealed what Marcus had suspected from the beginning. This wasn't about security. It wasn't about protocol. This was about power and the assumption that someone who looked like Marcus couldn't possibly have legitimate business in a superior courthouse. Officer Jenkins reluctantly produces handcuffs. Marcus closes his eyes briefly, a flash of old pain crossing his face. Memories of another time, another unjust moment. But when he opens them, there's something else there. Patience. Certainty. Marcus. Officer Chen, I want you to remember this moment. Remember that I gave you every opportunity to check your facts, to make a phone call, to verify who I am. You're choosing not to. Officer Chen, snapping cuffs on Marcus's wrists, tighter than necessary. Save the speech for your public defender, pal. Trust me, judges have heard it all before. A small crowd has gathered now. An older black woman in a cleaning uniform shakes her head sadly. A young white attorney in an expensive suit watches with his mouth slightly open, recognition dawning on his face. Young attorney, quietly, to his colleague. Oh my God. Does Chen not realize? His colleague, pulling him back. Not our problem, man. Let it play out. Officer Chen grips Marcus's arm, roughly steering him toward the exit rather than into the courthouse. Marcus, not resisting, but speaking clearly. I have a hearing in courtroom 4B in exactly 8 minutes. Judge Patricia Morrison is expecting me. Officer Chen, laughing harshly. Judge Morrison is expecting you? As what, the defendant? Sorry to break it to you, but your case is going to be delayed. Indefinitely. Officer Jenkins, voice low, worried. Chen, maybe we should actually verify. His briefcase has legal documents, and the way he's speaking. Officer Chen. Jenkins, I swear, if you undermine me one more time. Female voice, OS, sharp, authoritative. Officer Chen. Everyone turns. Attorney Lisa Rodriguez, 42, assistant district attorney, strides toward them in a charcoal suit, heels clicking authoritatively on marble. Her expression is thunderous. Attorney Rodriguez, what exactly is happening here? Officer Chen, straightening, defensive. Ma'am, I'm conducting a security check on a suspicious individual. Attorney Rodriguez, eyes widening as she sees Marcus in handcuffs. You did not just. She stops, looks at Marcus, sees the subtle shake of his head. Marcus, quietly. It's all right, Lisa. Officer Chen is following his training. Aren't you, officer? Something in Marcus's tone, the lack of fear, the subtle authority, makes Officer Chen hesitate for the first time. Officer Chen, bravado wavering slightly. Look, I don't know what connection you think you have, but this man was loitering suspiciously, and when questioned. Attorney Rodriguez, voice tight with controlled fury. He was loitering outside the courthouse he has business in. Did you even ask him what that business was? Did you verify anything before you assaulted him? Officer Chen, I didn't assault anyone. I performed a lawful detention based on reasonable suspicion. Marcus, calmly, but with weight, reasonable suspicion. Based on what specific behavior, Officer Chen? Walking while black. Being well-dressed while black. Speaking on the phone while black. Narrator. The question hung in the air, surrounded by a dozen witnesses with cameras now recording. Officer Chen felt the ground shifting beneath him, but his pride, that toxic combination of ego and prejudice, wouldn't let him back down. He'd gone too far to retreat. So he did what people like him always do when confronted with their own bias. He doubled down. Officer Chen, face reddening. You know what? I'm tired of playing games. You're under arrest for interfering with a police investigation, resisting questioning, and disorderly conduct. Marcus, softly. I've done none of those things. Officer Chen, that's for a judge to decide. Officer Chen sits frozen for a moment, then slowly exits the car. He opens the back door where Marcus sits. His hands tremble as he reaches for the handcuff keys. Officer Chen, voice breaking. Your Honor, I didn't. Marcus, turning to present his hands, voice neutral. Be careful with the key. The cuffs are quite tight. Officer Chen fumbles with the key, finally releasing the cuffs. Marcus brings his hands forward, rubbing his wrists where the metal has left deep red marks. Officer Chen sees them and looks like he might be sick. Officer Jenkins, voice small. Judge Williams, we're so sorry. I should have said something. I should have. Marcus, stepping out of the car, straightening his suit jacket. Officer Jenkins, you tried. Multiple times. That speaks to your character. He looks at Officer Chen, who can't meet his eyes. Marcus. Officer Chen, do you know why I didn't immediately announce my position? Why I didn't demand special treatment? Officer Chen shakes his head mutely. Marcus, because every single day, black men and women in this city get treated exactly the way you treated me. They get stopped without cause, questioned without respect, detained without justification. The only difference is that when it happens to them, there's no captain to call, no title to save them, no system rushing to their defense. They suffer your biases in silence, and the world moves on. Officer Chen, tears in his eyes now. I didn't mean to. Marcus, but you did. Intention doesn't erase impact, officer. Now, I believe we need to get to the courthouse. Narrator. The ride back to the municipal courthouse was silent except for Officer Jenkins's careful navigation through morning traffic. In the passenger seat, Officer Chen stared straight ahead, watching his career dissolve before his eyes. And in the back seat, no longer in handcuffs, no longer detained, Judge Marcus Williams sat with the quiet dignity of a man who had proven a point he never wanted to make. Scene: Municipal Courthouse, main entrance, 10:42 a.m. The patrol car pulls up. A small crowd has gathered outside, court staff, attorneys, reporters who somehow got wind of the incident. Attorney Rodriguez stands on the steps, arms crossed, waiting. Officer Jenkins, turning around. Your Honor, I'll escort you inside. The hearing is being held for your arrival. Marcus, gathering his briefcase. Thank you, Officer Jenkins. I'll be recommending you for commendation. Your attempts to prevent this situation were noted and appreciated. Officer Chen makes a small sound, almost a whimper. Marcus pauses, looks at him. Marcus. Officer Chen, I want you to understand something. This isn't about revenge. This isn't even about you specifically. This is about a system that allowed you to feel empowered to treat me, to treat anyone, the way you did this morning. That system needs to change. And sometimes change requires public examples. Officer Chen, hoarsely, what's going to happen to me? Marcus, that's not my decision. But I suspect you'll have plenty of time to reflect on your choices. Marcus exits the car, and immediately Attorney Rodriguez rushes down the steps. Attorney Rodriguez, voice tight with emotion. Marcus, I swear, I tried to stop him. Marcus, placing a hand on her shoulder. I know you did. But it needed to happen this way. Come on, we have a court to run. They walk up the courthouse steps together. The crowd parts. Some people whisper. Others take photos. Marcus walks with his head high, his stride confident. Behind him, Officer Chen watches through the patrol car window, his face a mask of devastation. Narrator, as Judge Williams entered the courthouse, not as a defendant, not as a suspect, but as the person whose name adorned the very courtroom he'd been prevented from entering. The weight of the situation began to spread through the building like wildfire. This wasn't just a case of mistaken identity. This was a mirror held up to every assumption, every bias, every moment when someone in power decided who belonged and who didn't based on nothing more than appearance. Scene: Courtroom 4B, 10:55 a.m. The courtroom is packed. The defendant in the scheduled felony trial sits with his public defender. The prosecution team is assembled. The gallery is filled with observers, attorneys between cases, and now, several reporters who've heard rumors. Bailiff Anderson, a black man in his 60s who's worked in the building for 30 years, stands at attention. When the back door opens and Marcus enters, his stern expression breaks into a relieved smile. Bailiff Anderson, quietly. Judge Williams. We heard what happened. You all right? Marcus, small smile. I'm fine, Anderson. Let's not keep everyone waiting. Marcus moves through the side door to his chambers. Through the open doorway, people in the gallery crane their necks to see. The whispers grow louder. Attorney in gallery, to his colleague. That's Judge Williams. I heard a cop arrested him this morning. Another attorney. What? That's insane. On what charge? Attorney in gallery. Does it matter? Look at him. We all know why. In the chamber, Marcus removes his suit jacket, revealing the wrist marks from the handcuffs clearly visible on his brown skin. He pauses, looking at them in the mirror, then puts on his black judicial robe. When he emerges, he's transformed, no longer Marcus Williams, citizen. Now Judge Williams, authority. Bailiff Anderson, loudly, all rise. The Superior Court of the 4th Division is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marcus Williams presiding. Everyone stands. The room falls silent. Marcus takes the bench, his expression neutral but commanding. He surveys the courtroom, the packed gallery, the nervous prosecution, the defendant, the court reporter. Then his eyes land on someone standing at the back of the courtroom. Officer Chen has entered, still in uniform, looking like a man walking to his own execution. Attorney Rodriguez stands beside him, having apparently insisted he come inside. Marcus's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. Marcus, please be seated. The room sits. The tension is palpable. Marcus, before we proceed with the scheduled matter, I need to address an incident that occurred this morning. Bailiff Anderson, please note this statement for the record. Bailiff Anderson, yes, Your Honor. Marcus takes a breath, choosing his words carefully. Marcus, at approximately 9:50 a.m. today, while entering this courthouse to fulfill my duties, I was detained, searched, handcuffed, and arrested by Officer Bradley Chen of the Municipal Police Department. I was prevented from entering this building and was in the process of being transported to central booking when the situation was corrected. Gasps ripple through the gallery. Cell phones appear, recording. In the back, Officer Chen's face is ashen. Marcus, during this detention, I was not asked for identification beyond my driver's license. I was not permitted to explain my purpose here. I was subjected to physical search, had my personal property confiscated and searched without warrant, and was accused of various crimes I did not commit. Throughout this encounter, I was treated as guilty by virtue of my presence. Guilty of being a black man in a nice suit in a place where Officer Chen apparently believed I did not belong. He pauses, lets that sink in. Marcus, I am making this statement not to embarrass Officer Chen, though I suspect that's an unavoidable consequence of his actions. I'm making this statement because today I experienced what too many citizens, particularly citizens of color, experience every day in our justice system. The only difference is that my position afforded me protections that others do not have. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the real problem. The courtroom is utterly silent. Several attorneys are writing frantically. Reporters are recording every word. Defense attorney, standing tentatively. Your Honor, if I may, does this incident compromise your ability to preside fairly today? Marcus, slight smile. Counselor, I've been a black man in America for 38 years. If every incident of profiling compromised my judgment, I'd never be able to preside over anything. I appreciate your concern, but I assure you, my commitment to fairness is not diminished by being reminded why that commitment matters. He looks directly at Officer Chen now. Marcus, Officer Chen, please step forward. Officer Chen looks like he'd rather die, but Officer Jenkins, still standing beside him, gently pushes him forward. He walks down the center aisle like a man in a dream or a nightmare. Every eye follows him. He stops before the bench, unable to look up. Marcus, Officer Chen, you're not on trial here today. That may come later. That's a matter for internal affairs, the district attorney's office, and potentially civil court. But I want you to understand something clearly. Officer Chen finally raises his eyes. They're red-rimmed, full of fear and shame. Marcus, you didn't just violate my rights this morning. You didn't just embarrass yourself and your department. You revealed something that many people prefer to pretend doesn't exist, the casual, everyday nature of racial profiling in our law enforcement. You made assumptions based on my skin color, my address, my presence in a space you deemed inappropriate for someone who looks like me. Officer Chen, voice cracking. Your Honor, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Marcus, I appreciate your apology, but it's not enough. Sorry doesn't undo the violation. Sorry doesn't protect the next person you encounter. Sorry is just a word unless it's backed by real change, real self-examination, and real consequences. Narrator. And there it was, the difference between justice and revenge. A lesser man might have used his power to destroy Officer Chen utterly, to exact retribution for the humiliation and violation. But Judge Marcus Williams understood something deeper. That true justice isn't about punishment for its own sake. It's about accountability, learning, and preventing the next victim. Marcus, Bailiff Anderson, is Assistant Chief Morrison present? Bailiff Anderson, she is, Your Honor. Waiting outside as requested. Marcus, please ask her to enter. The doors open, and Assistant Chief Patricia Morrison enters, 50s, black, in full dress uniform, her expression grave. The courtroom collectively realizes, the captain from the radio is here in person, and she outranks everyone in the building who wears a badge. Assistant Chief Morrison, approaching the bench, Your Honor. Marcus, Assistant Chief Morrison, thank you for coming. As you're aware, Officer Chen detained me this morning in what I believe to be a clear violation of my civil rights, departmental protocol, and basic human decency. I'm making a formal complaint, and I expect a full investigation. Assistant Chief Morrison, nodding. Your Honor, that investigation is already underway. Officer Chen has been suspended with pay pending review. We take these allegations with the utmost seriousness. Marcus, I appreciate that, but I have an additional request. Assistant Chief Morrison waits. Marcus, I want Officer Chen to undergo mandatory bias training, not the token online course that departments use to check boxes, but real, intensive education on racial profiling, implicit bias, and the history of policing in black communities. And I want him to complete 100 hours of community service in South District, my neighborhood, where he assumed I didn't belong in a courthouse. Officer Chen's head snaps up, surprise crossing his face. Marcus, if he completes that training, that service, and demonstrates genuine understanding of his errors, I won't pursue civil litigation. I don't need his money. I need him to be better. I need him to understand the communities he's supposed to serve. Assistant Chief Morrison, that's very generous, Your Honor. Marcus, looking at Chen, it's not generosity. It's investment. Officer Chen is young enough in his career to change, to learn, to become the kind of officer this city needs. But if he refuses, if he goes through the motions without real reflection, or if he ever treats another citizen the way he treated me this morning, pause, voice hardening, then I will use every resource at my disposal to ensure he never wears that badge again. Officer Chen, stepping forward, voice shaking. Your Honor, I'll do it. All of it. I'll spend every day trying to understand what I did wrong. I'll learn. I promise. Marcus, don't promise me, Officer Chen. Promise every person you encounter from this day forward that you'll see them as human beings first, not as threats or stereotypes or problems to be managed. Promise that you'll question your assumptions before you act on them. Promise that you'll be the kind of officer who protects everyone equally. Officer Chen nods, tears streaming down his face now. Marcus, Assistant Chief Morrison, I trust you'll ensure these conditions are met? Assistant Chief Morrison, you have my word, Your Honor. And Judge Williams, on behalf of the entire department, I apologize. This should never have happened. Marcus, thank you, Chief. Now, if there's nothing else, we have a trial to conduct. Assistant Chief Morrison nods to Officer Chen, who turns and walks back up the aisle, his footsteps echoing in the silent courtroom. Officer Jenkins meets him at the door, placing a supportive hand on his shoulder as they exit together. Narrator. As the doors closed behind Officer Chen, the courtroom remained silent, processing what they'd just witnessed. This was justice, not the theatrical kind seen in movies, not the vengeful kind that feels satisfying for a moment but changes nothing. This was real justice. Accountability paired with opportunity for redemption, consequences balanced with education, power used not to destroy but to transform. Marcus, settling back in his chair. Now then, we're here for the matter of the people versus Demetrius Jackson. Counselors, are you ready to proceed? Prosecutor, standing, still slightly dazed. Yes, Your Honor. The people are ready. Public defender, standing. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Marcus, excellent. Before we begin, Mr. Jackson. The defendant, a young black man in his 20s wearing an ill-fitting suit, looks up nervously. Marcus, I want you to know that regardless of what happened to me this morning, you will receive a fair trial in this courtroom. My experience does not prejudice me against law enforcement in general, nor does it create any bias in your favor. You will be judged solely on the facts of your case and the law as it applies. Do you understand? Demetrius Jackson, voice breaking slightly. Yes, Your Honor. And thank you for what you said about being treated fair. Marcus, gentle smile. That's what this room is for, Mr. Jackson. Fairness, justice, truth. Let's make sure we deliver all three today. The trial proceeds. As Marcus presides, his professionalism is evident. Sharp legal mind, fair rulings, respect for both sides. In the gallery, attorneys who practice regularly in his courtroom nod to each other, unsurprised. This is who Judge Marcus Williams has always been. Narrator. The trial of Demetrius Jackson concluded 3 days later with a verdict of not guilty. The prosecution's case fell apart under the scrutiny of a judge who believed in the presumption of innocence and a defense attorney who was inspired to fight harder by what she'd witnessed. Officer Bradley Chen spent the next 6 months in community service in South District, where he met families, learned histories, and slowly, painfully, began to unlearn a lifetime of prejudiced assumptions. He would never patrol again, but he became a training instructor, teaching new officers about the cost of bias and the importance of seeing people first, badges second. Scene. Same courthouse, 3 months later. Marcus walks through the main entrance in civilian clothes, jeans, a casual jacket, sneakers. He's carrying coffee and a newspaper. Security guard. At the metal detector. Morning, Judge Williams. Marcus, smiling. Morning, Frank. How's your daughter's soccer season going? Security guard. Undefeated. That scholarship advice you gave her is really paying off. Marcus passes through security without incident, waves to several attorneys, stops to chat with a young black law student interning for the summer. Law student. Judge Williams, I was hoping to ask you about something. Marcus, of course. Walk with me. Law student. As they walk. I heard about what happened to you. The arrest. And I've been thinking, don't you ever get tired? Tired of having to prove yourself. Tired of being questioned. Tired of staying calm when people disrespect you. Marcus stops, considers the question seriously. Marcus, every single day. But here's what I've learned. Dignity isn't about never getting tired. It's about choosing to stand up straight even when you're exhausted. It's about knowing your worth regardless of whether others recognize it. And it's about understanding that every time we respond to hate with grace, we make it just a little bit harder for that hate to survive. Law student. But how do you not get angry? Marcus. Small laugh. Who says I don't get angry? I get furious. But anger without purpose is just noise. I channel that anger into being the fairest judge I can be, into mentoring students like you, into making sure that the system, broken as it is, works a little bit better because I'm part of it. They reach the elevator. Marcus presses the button. Marcus, you want to know the truth? Officer Chen did me a favor. He reminded me, and everyone who heard about it, why this work matters. And trust me, the judges here know exactly how to handle people like you who think they can talk their way out of everything. Attorney Rodriguez, voice rising. Chun, I am strongly advising you to stop right now. Make a phone call. Check the court docket. Do literally anything except what you're currently doing. Officer Chun, pulling Marcus toward the door. With all due respect, counselor, this isn't the DA's jurisdiction. This is a law enforcement matter. You can file a complaint if you'd like. He pushes through the courthouse doors. Marcus doesn't resist, but his expression has changed, resignation mixed with something that looks almost like pity. Marcus, over his shoulder, to Rodriguez, don't worry. I'll see you in courtroom 4B. Eventually. Narrator. Officer Bradley Chen had been a cop for 15 years. He'd made thousands of arrests, written countless reports, and prided himself on his instincts. But instincts shaped by prejudice aren't instincts at all. They're just bias wearing a badge. And as he roughly guided Marcus Williams into the back of his patrol car, those biases were about to cost him everything he'd spent his career building. Scene. Police patrol car, 10:03 a.m. Marcus sits in the back seat, hands still cuffed behind him, uncomfortable but maintaining his composure. Officer Chen drives, Officer Jenkins in the passenger seat. The radio crackles intermittently. Officer Jenkins, turning to face Chun, voice low but urgent. I'm saying this as your partner. Something about this doesn't feel right. The way he talks, the way Rodriguez reacted, the lawyer who recognized him. Officer Chun, gripping the steering wheel tighter. What doesn't feel right is an ADA getting emotional over a random defendant. Makes me think there's something else going on. Maybe they know each other. Maybe he's connected to something bigger we just stumbled into. Marcus, from the back, calm. Officer Jenkins, how long have you been on the force? Officer Jenkins, surprised to be addressed directly. 2 years. What? Marcus, because you have good instincts. Trust them. Officer Chun, snapping, don't talk to my partner. In fact, don't talk at all. You have the right to remain silent. I suggest you use it. Marcus, you never actually read me my Miranda rights. Officer Chun. Silence. Officer Chen's eyes flick to the rearview mirror, meeting Marcus's steady gaze. For a moment, uncertainty crosses his face. Officer Chun, defensively, I'll read them at the station. Procedure allows for. Marcus, procedure allows for a lot of things. But there's a difference between what's allowed and what's right. You still have time to recognize that difference. Narrator, it was another warning, another lifeline thrown to a man drowning in his own prejudice. But pride is a powerful anchor, and Officer Chun was determined to sink with it. The radio crackles. Dispatcher, VO Unit 23, what's your status? We show you've left your patrol zone. Officer Chun, grabbing the radio. Unit 23, transporting a suspect to central booking for processing. ETA 15 minutes. Dispatcher, VO copy that. Be advised, we've received multiple calls from the municipal courthouse requesting your immediate return. Something about a detained individual needed for court proceedings? Officer Chun, glancing in the mirror at Marcus, then away. Negative, dispatch. Subject is in custody on multiple charges. Courthouse business will have to wait. Dispatcher, VO, pause, then a different tone. Unit 23, I'm getting calls from the DA's office now, and stand by. Longer pause. Officer Jenkins and Officer Chen exchange looks. Dispatcher, VO Unit 23, who exactly do you have in custody? I need a name for verification. Officer Chun, Marcus Williams, South District resident, suspected of. Dispatcher, VO, voice suddenly strained. Give me that spelling. Officer Chun, spelling it out, MARCUSWILLIMS. Long silence. Even the static seems to hold its breath. Dispatcher, VO, very carefully. Officer Chun, I need you to pull over immediately and await further instructions. Officer Chun, I'm en route to central booking with a suspect. Dispatcher, VO Chun, pull over now. That's a direct order from Captain Morrison. Officer Chen's face goes pale. He pulls the car over onto a side street, puts it in park. His hands are shaking slightly now. Officer Jenkins, quietly, Morrison? Why would the captain personally? The radio crackles again, but this time it's a different voice. Older, female, with absolute authority. Captain Morrison, VO. Officer Chun, this is Captain Morrison. I need you to confirm the status of your detainee. Officer Chun, voice cracking slightly. Captain, he's secure. In custody. I had probable cause based on suspicious behavior near the courthouse. Captain Morrison, VO, describe his appearance. Officer Chun, black male, late 30s, approximately 6'1", wearing a navy suit. Captain Morrison, VO, a long exhale. Please tell me he's not in handcuffs. Officer Chen doesn't answer. Officer Jenkins closes her eyes. Captain Morrison, VO, Officer Chun, I'm going to ask you a direct question, and I want a direct answer. Did you check his credentials? Did you ask him for any identification beyond a driver's license? Did you make any attempt to verify who he actually is? Officer Chun, defensive, he was acting suspiciously, refusing to adequately explain. Marcus, speaking up, calm but clear. Captain Morrison, this is Marcus Williams. I'm fine. Your officer was doing what he believed was his job. We can sort this out. Complete silence on the other end for 3 seconds. Captain Morrison, VO, voice very controlled, dangerously quiet. Officer Chun, you will remove those handcuffs immediately. You will apologize. And then you will transport Mr. Williams directly back to the municipal courthouse with full courtesy and respect. Do you understand? Officer Chun, confused, frightened now. Captain, I don't understand who is this guy? Narrator, and there it was, the question Officer Chen should have asked an hour ago. The question that could have saved his career, his reputation, and the lawsuit that was now inevitable. But sometimes the most important questions come too late, and the answers we receive become the lessons we never forget. Captain Morrison, VO, Officer Chun, the man you just arrested and handcuffed without cause, the man you publicly humiliated and detained, is Judge Marcus Williams. Superior Court, Division 4. The color drains from Officer Chen's face. Officer Jenkins's mouth falls open. In the back seat, Marcus remains perfectly still, watching Chen's reflection in the rearview mirror. Officer Chun, barely a whisper. That's not possible. Judges don't dress like, they don't look like. Marcus, quietly, like me. Captain Morrison, VO Chun, I don't have time for your shock. Judge Williams is due in his own courtroom in 5 minutes to preside over a major felony trial. You've just arrested a sitting Superior Court judge on his way to work. Do I need to explain to you the magnitude of this disaster? Officer Jenkins, voice shaking, "Oh my God." Officer Chen, frantically, "I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? He never told me." Marcus, interrupting, still calm. "Officer Chen, I told you I had business in courtroom 4B. I told you I was expected by Judge Morrison. That's the captain's wife, by the way. I told you multiple times that you were making a mistake. I gave you every opportunity to verify my identity. You chose not to take any of them." Officer Chen, turning around, panicked. "You could have just told me you were a judge." Marcus, "I shouldn't have to. I'm a citizen. I was doing nothing wrong. My occupation is irrelevant to whether I deserve to be treated with basic dignity and respect. But apparently, in your view, some people need to prove they're important before they're worthy of civil treatment." Narrator, it was the core truth of the entire encounter, laid bare. Marcus Williams hadn't demanded special treatment because of his title. He'd simply expected the same rights afforded to every citizen, regardless of their race, address, or appearance. But Officer Chen had seen a black man and made assumptions. Those assumptions were now about to cost him everything. "Captain Morrison, V.O. Chen, uncuff him now. Jenkins will drive back to the courthouse. You're suspended pending a full investigation. Report to Internal Affairs the moment you return to the station." Officer Chen, desperately, "Captain, please, I was just doing my job." "Captain Morrison, V.O., you were doing the opposite of your job. Your job is to protect and serve all citizens. Your job is to use good judgment. Your job is to follow the law, not your biases. Get Judge Williams back to that courthouse. Now." The radio goes dead. Why representation matters. Why we can't give up or give in just because progress is slow and painful. Every time someone sees me on this bench, making fair decisions, treating everyone with respect, they see what's possible. They see that we belong in these spaces, not as tokens or exceptions, but as equals. Law student, nodding slowly. "So you turn it into purpose." Marcus, "Exactly. And one day, you'll do the same. Because trust me, you'll face your own Officer Chen. Maybe not exactly like mine, but someone will try to make you feel like you don't belong. And when that happens, you'll remember this conversation, and you'll stand tall, and you'll prove them wrong just by being excellent." The elevator arrives. Marcus steps in, then holds the door. "Marcus, come on, I'll introduce you to my clerk. We're looking for another intern next semester. Might as well keep this cycle going." Narrator, and that's how change happens. Not in dramatic moments of explosive confrontation, though those have their place, but in quiet conversations, in mentorship, in the daily choice to be better than the hate directed at us. Judge Marcus Williams didn't just survive his encounter with prejudice. He transformed it into purpose, used his pain to protect others, and turned a moment of injustice into a lesson that rippled out far beyond one courthouse in one city on one Tuesday morning. Final scene, courtroom 4B, 6 months later. Marcus presides over a packed courtroom. In the gallery, among the usual mix of attorneys and observers, sits Officer Chen, no longer in uniform, but in civilian clothes. He's taking notes, watching carefully, learning. Marcus notices him, gives the slightest nod of acknowledgement. Officer Chen nods back, respect and gratitude clear on his face. Narrator, sometimes the people we underestimate are the ones who teach us the most valuable lessons. Judge Marcus Williams didn't need revenge. Justice has a way of finding those who deserve it. And mercy, when paired with accountability, has a way of changing people in ways that punishment alone never could. In the end, the real question isn't whether someone can be humbled. It's whether, after being humbled, they choose to learn. Officer Chen chose to learn. And in that choice, both men found something rare in our world. Redemption paired with justice. Transformation born from truth. Marcus strikes his gavel. "Marcus, this court is adjourned. This story is not just about one judge and one officer. It's about every assumption we make based on appearance. Every time we judge someone's worth by their address, their skin color, their clothes, their accent. It's about the power of dignity in the face of disrespect and the choice between revenge and justice." Judge Marcus Williams could have destroyed Officer Chen's life. Instead, he offered him a chance to become better, not because Chen deserved it, but because the world needs officers who learn from their mistakes rather than repeating them. The real victory wasn't in Chen's humiliation. It was in the possibility of his transformation. And the real lesson isn't that Marcus Williams was a judge. It's that he shouldn't have had to be a judge to be treated with basic human dignity and respect. We all have the power to be Officer Chen or Judge Williams in our daily lives. We all make assumptions. The question is, what do we do when we realize our assumptions were wrong? Do we double down, or do we learn? Justice isn't just about punishment. It's about creating a world where the next Marcus Williams doesn't need a title to be safe. Where the next Demetrius Jackson gets a fair trial not because he's lucky enough to stand before a judge who understands bias, but because fairness is the standard, not the exception. That's the world worth fighting for. That's the lesson worth learning.